Hey church, it's Pastor Sarah. I'm glad that you're here today because I wanted to tell you about how we've been participating in a special campaign called Our Conference, Our Kids. Our Conference, Our Kids, or OCOK for short, is a campaign of the Illinois Great Rivers Annual Conference. That's our annual conference, all of Illinois, south of I-80, and the campaign is to raise $2.5 million to endow the spiritual life programs for the children in our 5 conference child welfare agencies. Those agencies are Chaddock, Cunningham Children's Home, the Baby Fold, Lessie Bates Davis Neighborhood Home, and Spiro Family Services. Now, Wesley has been supporting this $2.5 million campaign for several years now, through bake sales, through mission projects, through special offerings, and more. And this year, Wesley Church has a special opportunity to help us finish out the project. In the month of September, we are hoping to help the annual conference get across the finish line of their $2.5 million campaign by raising enough money to be sort of an example sample congregation in honor of our beloved Bishop, Frank J. Beard. So I just want to let you know how we're doing so far. Before we even got to September, Wesley Church had contributed over the years about $17,000. Recently, the Missions Committee brought in another $1,000 with the bake sale at the farmer's market. United Methodist Women raised about $2,500 last Sunday at UMW Sunday, and now this coming Sunday, September 26th, we have an opportunity to make one final donation, get this thing across the finish line, and do our part to help meet the goal of the campaign. But we can't ask you to give without letting you know where your giving is going. So for the next couple of days, we thought we'd feature some special video clips from a recent annual conference celebration at which the 5 chaplains of the 5 child welfare agencies that we're talking about had a chance to offer their personal testimony of how important our ministry is, how important your generosity is, and how it makes a difference to the kids in our conference. So take a listen and see what you think.
Good afternoon. My name is Cheryl Anthony, and I am the program supervisor of the Providing a Sure Start program, the PASS program at Lessie Bates Davis Neighborhood House. All 5 of our agencies relate to youth and families that are going through extremely difficult times. Most of our youth have experienced abuse, neglect, and violence for long periods of time. Studies show that prolonged negative experiences alter the brain's chemistry. The young people we work with exhibit behaviors that result from toxic stress experiences. We all have stress. Some stress is to be expected and can be healthy. But this video will show how toxic stress has a deep and damaging effect on lives.
Research has proven that positive experiences in our earliest years actually help build brain architecture. So does that mean negative experiences can weaken brain architecture? The answer is yes, and the culprit is certain kinds of stress. The body and brain respond to stress by raising the heartbeat, pumping out adrenaline, and sending out stress hormones like cortisol, preparing us to act in a crisis. One kind of stress, called positive stress, is beneficial. It's normal and healthy for children to face challenges like meeting new people or attending the first day of school. The stress responses triggered by these events are usually short and not too severe. This kind of stress is positive because it prepares the brain and body for stressful situations later in life.
There are kind of these multiple phases of stress. So we have kind of what we call good stress, which is this kind of controllable stress in our lives, things like studying for a test, solving a problem. At the time we may not like them, but the reality of it is that we grow from them, we develop adaptive coping skills, and they kind of benefit us in the long run.
Children surrounded by caring adults experience positive stress in ways that benefit and strengthen their brain architecture. It's how we prepare our brains and bodies for other stressful events that we will experience throughout life. Sometimes children face more serious events. Think of a bad accident or a tragedy like a death in the family or a natural disaster. These events can cause a more severe stress response with the potential to last a long time and come back often. Support from caregivers can buffer the severity of the stress response and help keep stress levels under control. If the stress is kept in check, it won't do lasting damage to the child's brain and body. That's called tolerable stress.
And so this is things that are bad, but they're the kind of things we can't avoid, like the death of our parents or moving away from home, things that everyone goes through, and they're not positive. They're kind of negative in value, but they're the kind of things that everyone goes through. We can all kind of support each other, and they're made a lot easier by support networks and, coping skills and stuff like that.
The attention and support of caregivers prevents tolerable stress from causing lasting harm to developing brains. A third kind of stress is called toxic stress. It occurs during repeated exposure to bad situations like abuse, neglect, or serious hardship. If no supportive adults are around to help buffer the stress response, the hormone levels stay dangerously high. Severe stress is especially toxic if it occurs often and lingers for a long time. That can have a negative impact on brain architecture and on other systems in the body. Toxic stress can cause serious health problems later in life.
These are things that are pervasive, typically very uncontrollable and unpredictable. Abusive relationships, poverty, loss of job, loss of social status, things like this, which are kind of beyond our control and are very pervasive in our life and really kind of have this detrimental effect on us.
Toxic stress can weaken developing brain architecture and damage other body systems in young children. The effects can be a lifetime of health challenges, including physical and mental health problems, and even addiction. To ensure a healthier future for our families and communities, we need to work together to support caregivers and children, prevent toxic stress, and provide the kinds of nurturing experiences that build healthy brains and bodies.
Thanks so much, Wesley, for your support and your care for the kids of our conference, our kids, and our church. We appreciate your generosity, and we'll see you in church on Sunday.